Hello, Browns fans. This is the Dawgpound, Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, which is part of the Fans First Sports Network. Victory Monday again, an improbable Victory Monday, but Victory Monday. What a game yesterday! Oh my goodness! If you told me that the Browns in the fourth quarter were down by 15. They fumbled a punt return, had an interception called back in the end zone because of a defensive penalty, and missed an extra point. I would say, well, Baltimore beat us again. Not this team. This team is resilient. It shows fight, and it continues to impress. I don't know where to start. First, let's start with defense got off to a slow start again this week. And again, Deshaun Watson throws a pick six on his very first pass. I'm not going to blame Deshaun Watson for this one because that was just a hell of a play by Kyle Hamilton. That was very athletic, but still down 14-0, just like they were in Seattle. Kept chipping away, kept getting field goals, which I was fine with. Didn't see any going for it by Kevin Stefanski. So kept getting their field goals, kept getting into the red zone and getting points. They should have got touchdowns, I know, then because of mistakes, but they still got points. So that's good. 17-9 halftime. Baltimore comes out, goes down and scores. But then the Browns turn around and do a long drive. And as a matter of fact, in the second half, they had drives of 12 plays, 17 plays, 10-minute, 17-play drive, and another 12-play drive. Back and forth, they get within 7, beautiful two-point conversion. Perfect two-point conversion. That was set up perfect. Deshaun Watson could have crawled into the end zone. And, of course, Greg Newsome gets a pick six. They did turn the ball over twice, but then so did the Ravens. The MVP candidate, leading MVP candidate, threw 2 picks. The defense stepped up. I noticed some adjustments both on offense and on defense at halftime. Kevin Stefanski decided, well, let's just play physical. Let's just start beating them up. And that's what they did. Jerome Ford, 107 yards. First half, Deshaun Watson, what was he, 6 of 20? He just didn't look comfortable in the pocket. Second half, 14 of 14. Perfect in the second half. And they beat up the defense for Baltimore. On the other side, Jim Schwartz made some adjustments with his where he lined up. When Lamar gets out of the huddle, he's standing back there to read the defense. And at the last minute, they moved some guys around. Obviously confused him. He got sacked, 3 times? He got hit 6 times. He only completed 1 pass in the fourth quarter. Think about that. Lamar Jackson. Think about all the past games that he even came out of the toilet to beat us once. Completed 1 pass in the fourth quarter. That's amazing. Defense stepped up. Scored touchdowns in the second half, finally. When Dustin Hopkins missed that extra point, I wasn't too worried about it. I really wasn't. For some reason, I turned to my wife and go, well, he'll kick the game-winning field goal later then. And you notice when he went to the sideline, after he missed that kick, all the defensive players came up and said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're going to need you later. Don't worry about it. Get it out of your mind. Team. Couple injuries in the game. Well, the big injury was Denzel Ward, and you could see why Denzel Ward is so important. Mike Ford is a special teamer, but he got beat on that Odell Beckham touchdown pass. They were trying to set that up all game. They were trying to get Odell his comeuppance of the Cleveland Browns, and he finally did it. But I don't remember him doing anything else during that game. Zay Flowers was killing us, and that rookie McKinney or whatever the heck his name was. But you notice after they got that quick 14 lead and they only got another field goal, that's where they sat for the rest until halftime. Defense made changes. Defense made pressure. Defense made Mr. Lamar Jackson uncomfortable. But how about that last drive? You start on the 20-yard line. Then you get a 5-yard penalty. 1st and 15. Make it up. You fumble a ball. Get it back. 2nd and 19. You hit Amari Cooper. Gets a manageable first down. Then the scramble by Deshaun Watson. Gets it down close to field goal range. And then the iconic image, the video that is taking over Browns fans' social media, the run by Jerome Ford. He got hit by the first defender on the 38, and then by the time they stopped him, he was to the 26. Love it. Love it. That is, even Elijah Moore was in there pushing. And speaking of Elijah Moore, he had a pretty good game. I think that's what I wanted to see from Deshaun Watson. Stop throwing the ball just to Cooper and David Njoku. And he came up big on some great plays. That touchdown was fantastic. Deshaun Watson knew exactly where he was, glanced over real quick at the line marker and threw it at the last minute. Baltimore looked confused. Now, you got to remember, this is a top 5 red zone defense. And I think they're number 1 going into that game. They were number 1 in defense in scoring, allowing points. 33. Ooh, love it. Myles Garrett. What can you say about Myles Garrett? Another sack and a half. He's up to 11. But I think his biggest play is prior to the last drive. Lamar Jackson goes off running, being chased by Zadarius Smith, who just can't catch him. And he's heading down the sideline. And here comes Myles Garrett from the other side of the field and nails him out of bounds, causes the 4th down. And they have to punt. And then the Browns took over and went right down the field. Excellent game. Improbable game. First time since 2000 that a team has not led for 59 minutes and 20 seconds and still won. They never led in this game. Never, until that field goal went through with no time on the clock. Improbable. Who else had good games? On offense, of course, Jerome Ford, 170 yards rushing. I was glad to see Kevin Stefanski give up on the deep passes in the second half and just decide, let's just let the offensive line and the running back just go at it. Speaking of offensive line, how about those 2 tackles in the second half? Hudson and Christian played well. Offensive line, again, played well. Defensive line, like I said, as the game went on, started beating up on the Ravens' offensive line and made Lamar Jackson very uncomfortable. The key is, sacks are great, and I tell this to people all the time. Sacks are great, but if you hit a quarterback, legally hit a quarterback, that does more damage. They start getting antsy, and you could see that in Lamar Jackson. He started to feel uncomfortable in that pocket. The Browns were, they blitzed a couple times, but they were rushing 4. And they still made him feel uncomfortable. So, great win. I am extremely happy today, as you are too, all you Browns fans out there, because it's a wonderful victory Monday. Who else did well? Besides on offense, I liked what Elijah Moore did. I love Njoku just took off in the second half. I think they felt comfortable in their blocking scheme, so they could put him out more as a returner instead of keeping him in to protect Deshaun Watson. That one run he had where he just bowls over people. I mean, Patrick Queen couldn't catch him, tried to arm tackle him, and he just kept going. And speaking of Patrick Queen, cheap shot. I'm sorry, cheap shot. Went for Deshaun Watson's throat. And Ronnie Stanley, the offensive lineman, the reason Denzel got hurt, Denzel Ward, cheap shot after the whistle. This was the worst. And we've seen bad officiating this year in the NFL and especially Browns game. But these guys were just terrible. They couldn't even keep the dang play clock correct. I mean, come on, that's part of your job. But some of the calling and non-calls were just ridiculous. But Browns, they overcame it. They beat the Ravens and they beat the refs. So a great game today. Defensively, the line played well. Gotta hope Denzel Ward will play against the Steelers. It's a neck injury, not a concussion. He passes the concussion protocol. Also, Deshaun Watson was beat up. He was in a walking boot, but he told the reporters, I'm going to play against the Steelers. I think he's got a revenge on his mind for that Monday night game. So that's good to see. So other defensive players, Grant Delpit, fantastic. Our kicker, our punter, there's a couple guys on this team that the contracts need to be renewed. One of them is Bajorquez, the punter, and another one is Grant Delpit. I doubt they'll do it this late in the season, probably before the new season starts in March. They'll probably try and re-up them. I hope they do. They both played great games. JOK played a great game. What can it's just a team win. Everybody played well. It was looking pretty bleak. Nobody in this household called ball game early. I knew this was going to be a marathon and not a sprint. But I am very happy today, and I'm sure you are too. So later today, I'll have my blog out, dawgpoundsouth.net. I'll have a little more in-depth. I'll have my Pro Football Focus ratings of the top 5 offense and defense. And now we get ready for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh lucked out again. I shouldn't say lucked out again. They are a good team. Late interception by the opposing team in the end zone, second straight week. I mean, Green Bay's not that great. Their quarterback's not that great. They beat Tennessee the week before with Will Levis as the starter. He's come crashing down after 2 losses. So, how about the Texans going in and beating the Bengals? Bengals were without 2 of their better wide receivers. So, and Joe Burrow threw a late pick. Oh my! But so this Thursday, Baltimore comes in. Cincinnati goes to Baltimore, and the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday come to Cleveland. So by the time the game is over Thursday night, the Browns will know if they can take advantage of Sunday and get a victory and be the first place in the AFC North. Of course, the Pittsburgh Steelers think that as well, but we'll see what happens. Looking further ahead, which I seldom do on the schedule, I thought one of the 2 toughest games were the Jaguars and going into Houston and beating the Texans. The Texans still looks like it could be a difficult game, but I'll wait to see what Jim Schwartz dials up. But Jaguars just got their butts kicked by the 49ers, who all of a sudden found their way back to winning. So that's what we got to look forward to here in the future. Let's just enjoy today and get ready for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm your host, Steve Gill, and this has been the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fansford Sports Network. I appreciate the follows and the downloads that all for the Fanatical Elves Network. We appreciate it. I'll see you again on Thursday night, and I'll probably see you pregame for Pittsburgh. So everybody enjoy this Victory Monday